Hey everybody, Mike with Games Play Badly, and today on Session 0 I talked to Ben, who has designed kind of a completely unique TTRPG named Overgrown. Have you ever thought about combining animals to make an even better animal? I think as kids we probably all have, and maybe even adults we do. But that's what this game is based off of. It's a post-apocalyptic setting where there are no more humans and animals have taken over. And they've mutated, and you have goat cats, and you have batfish, and jellyfish swans, and all these amazing things. And it's not something that is set in stone, it's something that you create on your own. So it is unique. It sounds like a lot of fun. I am buying it because I cannot wait to play it. All the information about this itch is going to be down below, so definitely check it out. And also I have, again, my patented dungeon glitch gemmed firefly shirt on. This one says kindness is contagious. I've worn this before, but it really is. And especially during this time of COVID and divisiveness in various countries, be kind to one another, take care of each other, and especially within the Twitter community that I am part of, the TTRPG solidarity and family movement. Please be kind to your fellow creators, help them, boost them, and do whatever you can to help their projects get off the ground. And if you want one of these amazing shirts for yourself, or there's so many more up there, Matt does a great job. Definitely go to gemfirefly.com and take a look at all the shirts, and when you get ready to check out, use our code BADLY15, BATLY 15 at checkout for 15% off your order. I really enjoyed talking to Ben, and I can't wait for you to meet him. That interview starts now. Hey Ben, how are you?
Hey Mike, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad you reached out to me on Twitter because your game ideas seem so fantastic and so much fun. I can't wait to hear more about it. Can you tell me more about Overgrown?
Yeah, thanks. It's been a wild ride. Overgrown is it's my second project. It's my second game that I've written, and how do I describe it? It's a all ages, rules light, nature punk TTRPG where you play as weird animal hybrids. So I'm talking stuff. Anything you can think of can be the animal that you create. So I've got in one of my games a cat with cormorant wings and a pelican bill. I've got a goat with lobster claws. I've got a spider with jellyfish tentacles. Anything you can think of, you can make in this game. And I do say in the rules, no mythical creatures, but if you want to make a unicorn, you can have a horse combined with a rhino, and there's your unicorn. So, yeah.
Yeah. So how'd you come up with the idea for this game?
You know, it's a really weird one. I can never think. Like, a lot of people say when they see the creations that I've made, oh, this really feels like Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe that was in my head when I was coming up with this concept, but if it wasn't a conscious thing. And especially with the Avatar TTRPG coming out, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't really want to be saying I'm doing the Avatar game.
Right.
But yeah, my friend online, Basilisk Online, he was holding a Welcome to the Apocalypse game jam on Ichio a while back. Must be like 6 months ago now. And so that gave me this idea of making a world that was devoid of humans. And rather than being like the barren wastelands you usually get in apocalypses, I thought how cool would it be if it was like a jungle world or a forest world. So just have nature have taken over. Humans have somehow died out and animals and plants have taken over. But where the idea came from to like have hybrid animals, no idea at all. But it's really cool. It's really fun.
Well, it's cool. And one of the things, you actually are very generous with the fact that you have community copies that are available for download. So people can play it if they want to, and it's a full game. I think you're charging $10 for it, which is peanuts. From the standpoint of the reviews that I've seen have been very positive as far as, again, the rules light aspect of it. Why don't you explain to us how all those mechanics work in your game?
Yeah, I mean, the idea behind it and the root of all of this was that I wanted to be able to play games with people who I know who have never played these sorts of games before. Maybe they've been kind of intrigued by hearing about Dungeons and Dragons, and like you hear awesome stories come out of people who play these tabletop games. But a lot of the time, if you've never done this sort of thing, it's very intimidating. You get a book that's like that thick, and you think, "Oh, I don't know if I can put myself through that." So I thought, how about if I just make it as simple as all you have to do is roll a d20, and your result is how well you do at the thing you're trying to do. And this is great. It leads to a lot of narrative play, and people can just say, I want to try and do that. And you roll your d20, and then you can add modifiers based on what your animal traits are. So if you're trying to climb a tree and you have, I don't know, squirrel claws, you can have +2 to your roll. If you have more than one trait that could apply, maybe you've got squirrel claws and I don't know, spider legs. So you've got 8 legs, each with a squirrel claw. You can have +4 to your roll. So you can build it up that way. And the wackier your creature, the more different wild things you can do.
So from the standpoint of character creation, how is that moderated? Are there things in the book that tell you based off of kind of what animals you combine, what skills you get, or is this something that people come to you with and say, hey, I want to be a Komodo dragon elephant or something, and therefore then it's up to the DM to give you those traits and those bonuses?
Yeah, I mean, it's as collaborative as you want it to be. If you're the DM, you can say to your players, like, give me your ideas and I'll work with you to shape your creature. Actually, Basilisk Online also made me a character generator, which was really cool. And it just randomly picks from a list of like hundreds of animals, 3 or 4 different things that could be combined. And it's amazing. I'll have to send you the link to it if I've not already.
Please.
But it's so cool. And it comes up with some weird things. It's brilliant. But that really helps with people because literally you can pick any animal and any trait from any animal, which obviously can lead to a lot of decision paralysis. So having this thing like that will give you some ideas to work from is great. And you can have a character made in minutes. It's brilliant.
Well, now from the standpoint of traits, are you limited to the amount of traits that you can have, or for instance, if is it you can only be a combination of 2 animals, or you can be a combination of multiple animals, and then is there a limit on how many of those traits you can pull from those animals?
So you start off with a base animal, which will give you +3, and literally that'll be like I want my base animal to be a lion. And then you can have +3 to anything that a lion could possibly be doing. It could be biting, it could be glorying, it could be running. And then you can have, then you get like 3 points. So you can spend those 3 points on 3 +1 traits from animals, or a +2 and a +1. So those would be specific features. So you could get albatross wings, and you could have +2 albatross wings. If you want +2, if you just want +1, you can have a +1 albatross wings. And then you could add on, I don't know, frog tongue, and you could have a +1 or a +2 frog tongue. So you could start off with a combination of up to 4 animals, but then every time you roll a nat 20, you have the choice to either develop one of the traits that you've just used in that roll, or you can grow a whole new trait. So,
oh my goodness.
Say you're trying to hide amongst some bushes, and you roll a nat 20, you could suddenly develop chameleon skin. And that would start at +1. But then every time you get another nat 20 when you're hiding and using that chameleon skin, you could develop that further to a +2, +3. I once had a player, I think it was like my first or second playtest. What was that player? Who was a swan jellyfish. And he started, like, his base creature was a swan, and his jellyfish tentacles, I think, started at +2. He rolled 3 nat 20s in that first session, so ended up with +5 jellyfish tentacles. He was more jellyfish than he was swan.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. There's
the
some
visuals
proper,
sound
like,
fantastic.
Cthulhu-esque stuff in this.
Yeah.
But
So
it doesn't
now-
have to be. Like, it can be pretty cute. Like, you can have, like, your cat bunnies and stuff. If you want to be cute critters, then you can do that.
Yeah. Well, you know what they always say: cats are nature's perfect killers. So. So how long has it taken you to develop this?
So the rule set is very similar to a game I made previously, a sci-fi cyberpunk-esque kind of game, Cybertopia. And I wrote that one over like a year and a half. And it was like my first game, my kind of labor of love. So I ended up writing like 25,000 words on that over the course of a year and a half. And it's got like 10 full missions you can play. And so the rules from that were slightly a little bit more complex than Overgrown. But then when I got the idea for Overgrown, I thought I can just use those same rules and just even further simplify them. So Overgrown I wrote in less than a month during the Welcome to the Apocalypse jam, and got that out. And yeah, this labor of love I have that's like huge and novelesque size is just completely fallen by the wayside, and everyone loves Overgrown. So,
Well, I'm thinking immediately because I have several of my friends who run a game club for their local grade school. They're both, one's an administrator, one's a teacher. What a great game for kids! I mean, they can literally create. It's instant gratification on the 20. It's use your imagination to put together all these crazy animals and be whatever you want to be. It's free form, it's loose, it's easy. And from the GM, as we were talking about earlier in the pre-interview, I think games that are easy for the players are super easy for the DMs. I mean, it frees them up to do all sorts of crazy stuff, as opposed to worrying about all these like weird rules and, spell casting times and, situational issues. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and I've got a bunch of stuff in there for like specific GM advice, and not like, not so much this is how you play or this is how you run a session, but like things to help you guide your players. So, like for instance, during character creation, there's some tips on like how to maybe nudge your players in the right direction. Maybe they want to split it down into have a perception-like trait, have a attack kind of trait, have a movement trait.
Right.
That sort of stuff. And there's also some stuff about game safety. I've got Session Zero and X card and stuff in there. So, all the useful things that you need to be able to run a game that people are going to feel comfortable in and enjoy. And as a GM, you've got a bit more of a load on your shoulders running it. And actually, I don't refer to them as GMs in the game book. I always refer to them as game runners. It feels a bit more, a bit less overbearing.
Yeah, I agree. You're a facilitator to an amazing experience. That's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, within Overgrown itself, are there adventures built into this? Kind of start people out playing, or?
So this is the next kind of stage of it. So I'm itch funding. So rather than kickstarting, I'm doing a sale on Ichio, where it's a similar sort of concept. You pledge money towards it, and you'll get a reward. Any pledge at this point will give you the base game that already exists. That's a full rule book. I think it's about 25, 30 pages. And there is a starter session that is kind of outlined in that, but it's not very fleshed out at this point. So with the Itch Fund, I'm hoping to raise enough that I can fully write out a campaign, get it fully arted up. So you can see on the screen at the moment, there's the cover that I had made for this. Lovely cover, brilliant artist, really
beautiful. Got
the concept down to a T. And she's going to, if I can get the funding, art up a full campaign, art up the full book. I'm going to get, so I'll add a full campaign so that players, so GMs have something to actually run rather than having to come up with the ideas themselves. and I'll add a whole bunch of world lore and ideas that DMs can then use to hack together their own adventures and stuff. And yeah, really, really hoping that this comes off. I think I'm nearly at about 10% funded. For my aim is $9,000 USD. So it's a little bit high, but man, I never realized how much art costs for this sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what's really interesting is I just talked to Dave Pamphilo, who has 4 different modules up on DM's Guild, and his artists are fantastic. And so I always try and highlight the artists if I can. And what he did was he hyperlinked, because his stuff is all PDF. He hyperlinked all of his artists in there. But artwork is always the most expensive thing, as it should. You know, these artists are amazing people, you know, and they deserve to get paid. What ends up happening is you end up getting people trying to lowball you. And I'm self-employed. And so the one thing you've always got to make sure is you get paid for what you're worth.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, if you end up taking these lowball offers that people provide you, then all of a sudden that's what you're only going to get. So you've always got to maintain a standard of if people are interested in your work, then your work is worth it. Get paid for it. Yeah,
and I'm very keen on this because I've been working in the computer games industry for a long time, and seeing the indie creators and particularly artists getting screwed over for like the whole for exposure thing and stuff is really kind of upsetting. And like, if I have the opportunity, I want to be able to pay people properly and be able to have them enjoy what they're creating and not feel like they're doing it out of like obligation or whatever. And I want to be able to hire friends. Like I've got a plan to when I hit 1K on the Itch Fund, I'm going to hire one of my friends to make me a cool map for this starter session. And that's a good point. I'm going to start very soon, maybe this weekend, writing up the starter session into a more fleshed out thing, so that as soon as that's done, I can put that straight into the rule book, and people who are pledging will get that starter campaign. And it won't be a case of having to wait like 5 months or a year for a Kickstarter to complete to actually start putting the funds into good use. So yeah, really excited to be taking those next steps and being able to actually pay people to do stuff for me.
Yeah, I mean, and there are so many great creators on Twitter alone. I mean, there are so many people there to collaborate with, especially in a system as open as yours. I mean, I would imagine that people who are going to be drawn into your project are going to feel a sense of relief because they're going to have control over what they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm really open about it as well. Like, I'm trying not to be too precious about this project. Like when I've got people who want to work with me or want to collaborate, I'm just like, yeah, do whatever you like, and we can figure out it's going to fit together. I'm happy for people to be just engaging. This is not like something that I'm going to exclusively own. I want everyone to get involved if they want to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really interesting point that you make. It's like this is it's a collaborative effort all the way through. So from the standpoint of not only the game creation but the game play. So you're working with the DM to create your character. Other characters are working together to make the game run and work. I think it sounds fantastic. As a matter of fact, when we get off this call, I'm going to pledge because I'm really, really interested. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure that I have a copy that I can give to the friends of mine who run a game club. Because I think kids would absolutely love it. Adults too, but I'm just thinking how fanciful kids are and what crazy combinations they would come up with. I think it'd be hysterical.
Yeah, no, it's great. And actually, what you say about the collaborative play, I've got that throughout, like right from page 1. One of the first things I talk about is you figure out who your characters are, but you also figure out what the world is. Like, it's a post-human world. That's all I'm saying. You can base your adventures in, they could be in a swamp, or they could be in a jungle, or they can be in a woodland. It's up to your players to help you shape this world. And then, like, it doesn't matter what the actual climate is in the place that you've developed. You can still have the same adventures where you're going into a cave or you're going through some trees or something. Those things can exist anywhere, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Immediately in my mind, if I was going to run this, I would run it in a post-apocalyptic Disney world. So
Love it. Yeah.
you basically end up taking over the entire Disneyland or Disney World or wherever you wanted it. It could be Universal, but in an amusement park, I think it would be hysterical.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
but I mean, I like that what you're telling me about the game and what I'm seeing has already inspired me to create a setting for players to play in. So I mean, that's the mark of a good game.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
great.
that's very cool. Well, I
It's funny seeing how people react when they get even just the base hook about hybrid animals. I get so many people coming to me and being like, "How about this idea I've had of I don't know a lion and a panther?" And I was like, oh, "They're pretty similar animals," but then they're like, "No, a panther is black, a lion is yellow."
yeah,
And so I've got I made a creature. You've seen them. And probably anyone that knows me has seen them. I plaster them all over my Twitter all the time of these photoshopped animals that I make. And so the lion panther, I think I've got it a lion for, of course, is it's literally split straight down the middle. One half of it is black and one half of it is yellow, and it looks so funny. But yeah, I've got some really wacky photoshops in there. You should definitely have a look. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I have. I was for some when you were talking about your character that was more jellyfish than
Fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, I just see a flying jellyfish, which is terrifying because jellyfish are terrifying. I'm sorry, they are.
Oh yeah, and swans. They
Yeah,
are
yeah.
vicious.
Yeah, swans are kind of jerks. So, geese too.
Mm.
Yeah, they're kind of jerks, and they poop on everything. So, uh, so is there a time frame in which your fundraising is going until, or is it just kind of open?
So
I know
this
how
is the great thing
Kickstarters
about
work.
itch.
I have
Yeah.
not done an Ichio, so
So I mean, Kickstarter, you've got a limit. You've got to get all of that funding by X date. With Ichio, it's not the same. It's just I have set a goal for the sale. And I've got tiers that you can buy in at that will give you different rewards. So I think I've got a wild, like if you've got more money than sense, you can pay me $500 and you will get to create an NPC to add into the game, and you'll get my artist will do you a hand drawn drawing of this animal. And you'll also get the printed book and the PDF books and stuff at the end. But yeah, there's no fixed date on this. So notionally, I've got the sale that runs until I think Christmas. I've set it to. But if I don't make $9,000 by Christmas, I will still get the money that has been pledged. So if I get $4,000 or $6,000, I can still use that money to pay my artists and to pay my collaborators to produce the content, and I don't even have to wait until I've reached Christmas. Like as soon as that money's in the account, I think I've got $800 in there at the moment. I can start paying people to do stuff for me. It's great.
that is. I mean, your Kickstarter has its benefit, but Itch.io sounds like it's a better option when you're developing a product, so you're not paralyzed during the process of trying to fundraise with not having any funds. So you can develop, show people what you're doing, garner more support, gain more backing. Those are all really good things.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a slower burn than Kickstarter. Often you'll hear of Kickstarters getting funded in the first day or the first week or something. I don't know how long this has been running, maybe a month or so now. And it's a slower build. It doesn't have the same exposure. It doesn't have people really going through Twitch, going through Itch, looking for things that they can fund. Hopefully that builds up. I'm seeing more people doing Itch funding campaigns. There's some really good ones. Starlight Riders is one being run by a friend of mine that looks really fun. So it's picking up, but it's definitely got its drawbacks, as you say.
Yeah. It's the fact that we have so many TTRPG creators out there now, this is unheard of. The pandemic has brought a bunch of people into the hobby, and B has made a lot of people realize that they can create for this hobby and be successful. Now, obviously, success is measured in many different ways, but the fact that people are able to create things and make other people happy with them and build a following is a fantastic thing.
Yeah, I mean the pandemic has opened up so many new avenues for me that, like, if it hadn't been for this, I probably would never have really gotten into the community. I would never have sought out like fellow makers and found other people to play with that. I've been playing all sorts of systems that I'd never have found on my own. I did a whole campaign of Beam Saber, and like I'd never played Beam Saber before, never even heard of like Blades in the Dark until that point. And yeah, so many different systems that I've found and picked up and been like, wow, the world is bigger than D&D.
Much. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, I think the pandemic has shrunk the world a lot. You know, I mean, it's given us one common rallying cry. It's always the way I thought. Like, if we were ever visited by aliens, I figured the world would come together as a human species and be like, okay, this is, you know, whatever we're doing with these alien creatures. But I feel the same way with the pandemic, because we have a common enemy, a common cause, and it's really shrunk the world down into a much, much smaller place. We're all going through the very, very similar issues, and especially as gamers, gaming is a very communal endeavor, right? And being able to sit around a table and roll some dice is a wonderful thing. And we've all been cut off from that for almost 2 years now. So yeah, we do have a common cause, and we have a lot of people jumping in and creating amazing content that we're all enjoying now. So as bad as the pandemic has been, there has been a little bit of good that's come out of it, just from that aspect of it.
Yeah, I do miss playing like in person with people and sitting around a table, especially the clickety clack of the dice, and that is good fun. But the avenues that have been opened to me by being able to play online with people has been great.
Yeah, I agree. I think your game sounds fantastic. Again, as soon as I get off this call, I'm going to buy it myself, because I want to dig through it and see what's going on. I do have one thing that I do with all of my guests, and it's a quick fire challenge. It's five very hard hitting questions that I'm going to ask you, and just rattle off the first thing that comes to your brain.
Okay.
Out of all the creatures in your game that have been created, what do you feel maybe is the most creative or the most wonky?
Oh wow. In the very first playtest I ever did of it, one of my players decided they wanted to be a frog with an armadillo shell and an anteater nose. And later in the session, they developed chameleon skin as well. So they were bounding around. They said halfway through, like, we got into a battle, and they're like, oh, I don't have anything that I can attack with. And then they suddenly started cannonballing people, and it was great.
That sounds great. So out of all the natural creatures in this world, what would you consider your favorite?
Ooh. Well, that's a good one. I do like a rhino. Someone described them to me recently as the battle unicorns of the world. And so, yeah, a rhino is badass.
Yeah, they are. They really... Hippos aren't bad either. They're pretty surprising.
Hippos are vicious. They are scary.
Yeah, and they can move pretty quick.
Yeah.
I asked this for everybody, cake or pie?
Oh, that's tough.
Always is.
I love a pie. I love a pie. All kinds of pies. Meat pies, fruit pies, every pie. Delicious.
I was talking to somebody else who was in the UK, and I said I didn't feel like the United States had enough savory pies.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah, I lived in New York a while back for a year, and yeah, they definitely missing out on the good pies. But yeah, you get some good steak pie. I live in Scotland, so you get steak pies, steak and haggis pies, macaroni pie. That's something most people don't know about. Macaroni pies are delicious.
Huh. I got it. Yeah, I'll need to research that. I'll be the judge of that. Haggis, on the other hand, wow.
Big recommend. Vegan haggis is also very surprisingly very good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we used to do the Highland Games here near me, and they always had the haggis toss.
Oh, nice.
So it was a big frozen haggis, and they'd throw it, and by the end of the day, it was disgusting.
Yeah, don't eat that stuff.
Wait, I don't think it was edible. Coffee or tea?
I'm kind of half and half on that. I never used to like coffee, and it was only a few years ago I realized the reason was that I don't like coffee with milk in it or cream or anything. I just like my coffee black. So yeah, black coffee for me.
Spring or fall?
Yeah, I struggle with this one. In Scotland, they're pretty much the same. It's just damp and cold. Maybe fall is a little bit more fun. But then in spring, sometimes you get the snow, so it's a tough one.
Visit Scotland.com.
It's damp.
You're selling it. Well, Ben, it was awesome to have you on. I will have links to everything that we've talked about down in the description below. Please take a look at his creations. Now, make sure you send me a link to your other game as well, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's all on my Ichio. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard the term nature punk before, so that's pretty unique.
I'm trying to make it a thing.
Well, we'll work together at that. I'll start hashtagging it. How about that?
Cool. And if you need any advice or have any questions or comments when you get to playing the game, just drop me a line.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'll have links to everything he has to offer, all the stuff. If you want to link your artists as well, because that cover was fantastic. The cover is right here between us. I just love it. I think it's fantastic. So, but I wish you all the best, and let me know if you need anything from me.
Cheers, Mike.
Cheers.